Hey everyone, welcome back. Okay, this week I want to have a chat about light bulbs. It's a question I get asked about frequently. And me being part of the quantum biology collective and being in that world. Um, and those of you who are in that world know the impact that light has on your health. I'm not going to take a huge deep dive into that because I think most of the listeners here have some awareness around how light impacts our health, but I will mention some things throughout this episode because if you're still trying to grasp or wrap your head around how light impacts health, how it impacts your hormones, how it impacts your metabolism, how it impacts your sleep, how it impacts your body's ability to heal and to recover from illness, that's huge. It's kind of like, what do they say, beating the dead horse if I'm going to sit here and be like, yeah, light is causes inflammation and creates chaos in your body and creates circadian dysregulation and thereby fuels modern disease. Now, what fuels modern disease is suppressive therapies, number one, vaccines, antibiotics, prescription medications, and genetic predisposition. And I talk about this all the time here, and I'm going to talk about it until this subject is a dead horse because not many people are aware of this. So we need to focus on light when it comes to our health, and I'm going to talk about that in this episode, but we have to know that the foundation we have laid for ourselves through, our genetic predisposition, which oftentimes we don't have any real control over, right? But then we get sick and we start taking Western medication. This video is probably already off YouTube by now, but I don't think I made it 2 minutes in. However, when we get these suppressive therapies over and over again, it triggers our genetic predispositions. And so this is what moves us towards disease. Now, if we have a poor light environment, what does that mean? We look at a screen all day, we're inundated with LED lights, we're inundated with fluorescent lights. We sit behind a window all day, we sit in front of a screen all day, right? This is like adding, gasoline to the fire that's already been created through genetic predisposition and their activation, the activation of that, which will be very specific to you and your genetic predispositions. But being in a poor light environment is like adding fuel to that fire that's already been started. And it will basically propel you deeper into the genetic predisposition by being in a poor light environment. We already have enough shit to deal with trying to navigate jabs, trying to navigate the Western medical field, which thinks they, want to tell you what to do, and all their suggestions are total horseshit. I had another mom this week probably going to have to pull her children out of school because of the jab requirements that are absolutely ridiculous in California, in the state of New York, elsewhere also, but those states are very liberal, and so they think they're doing a good job by saving people stay at home, shelter in place, and get jabbed up. It's total horseshit, and it's very traumatic for our children and so forth. But anyway, what I want to emphasize here is that the reason we get sick in a nutshell is we have a genetic predisposition. Those genetic predispositions get activated through suppressive therapies and stress. And then when we live in a poor light environment under artificial light, we don't really go outside and see the sun much. We spend most of our time inside. We spend most of our time in front of a screen. This adds fuel to that fire that's already been stoked, right, from the genetic predisposition, but then from the suppressive therapies. Okay, I wanted to lay that foundation versus just going in and talking about light, because it would be misleading of me to say, hey, if you change out your light bulbs, your health is going to be perfect and you're going to be amazing and your energy is going to be revitalized and so forth. Yeah, you should feel differences in your energy levels, in the quality of your sleep, in possibly even your hormones and metabolism by, course correcting a poor light environment to a healthier light environment. Absolutely. But is it at the root of why you have a chronic disease today? No, unless you sit in front of 4 screens, which some people do for work, right? And are in this really high EMF environment, which some people do for work and on a daily basis, or if you're a gamer, there might be several screens, then that's a different situation. Now, if you're just if you're not in those kind of professions, then this isn't going to get to the root of your disease. But what it's going to do is it's going to support your hormones, support your metabolism, support your sleep-wake cycles, support your body's ability to heal, improve all of those things, improve your energy levels. Okay. So, while you're working on, okay, how do I rectify this genetic predisposition thing through, homeopathy and other diet and dietary practices and so forth, right? So I just want to lay a foundation here. I want to be very clear that the recommendations I give you today will be health supportive, right? But they're likely not going to cure everything that you struggle with, because there's a lot more going on in our bodies, our environment, our organism, than just bad light. Bad light is like just dumping gasoline on that whole situation. So it's very easy to improve your light environment, and it's very cost effective. It's very easy. It's like literally the easiest thing you can do for your health. So while you're working on some of the other things, why not change your light environment to help support your health, to help put the brakes on moving you towards chronic disease, to stop pouring gasoline on the fire, right? There's a lot of things you can do with your indoor light environment to help in this regard. And so that's what I want to focus on here today. So I'm going to talk about why light is important to health. I've mentioned some things here. I'm going to talk about screen time. I'm going to talk about the role of light in your hormones, light in your metabolism, light in your sleep. I'm going to talk about how to actually change your light environment to support your health. Like, for example, I'm going to give you actual, real suggestions. It's not just like, hey, hinting to things. I'm going to tell you how I light my indoor environment, what I do when I'm in front of a screen, and to protect my circadian biology, to keep my inflammation levels down, to support my metabolism and hormones. And then I'm going to give you some resources as to how you can do that and where you can get the particular light bulbs that I recommend to support these aspects of your health. Before I dive into this, I'm very excited. I know I've said this the past few weeks here, but I'm very excited to announce my ancestral health certification program starting this November 1st. I've moved the start date to November 1st. And so this is a 5-week program teaching you how to create customized healing plans using light and diet for your clients. So whether you already have a pre-existing health practice and you want to buff it up and you want to improve your healing outcomes with your clients and patients, this is an awesome resource for that. Or if you want to start your own healing practice, if you want to work for yourself, if you don't want to rely on the government, or if you don't want to have a boss, if you want to be your own boss. Some people do well having a boss. I'm not one of those people. And so if you're not one of those people, if you're like, oh my God, I hate my job, I wish I could just do this, you can just do these things, but it requires proper training. So my goal with this program is to properly train you all, or all of you wanting to be, holistic health practitioners, and helping you create customized dietary and light healing programs for your clients and patients. So that program is starting November 1st. Registration will close on that day. So if you're interested in joining the course, you can hop over to my site, heatharshepard.com, and at the top of the menu, you will see Ancestral Health Certification. There'll be a tab there. You can click on that and read more about the program. Now, at the end of that page, you will see the cost of the program, and there's 2 payment plan options. If you're like, ah, shit, I can't do either of those options, send an email my way and I'll help you set up a different payment arrangement. I'm very happy to do that. I want this to work for people. If you're really passionate about helping people heal in a holistic way, then, reach out to me. Don't let that stop you. All right, let's talk about light bulbs, what type of light to use. Last week I sent out a newsletter, and in that newsletter there was a link to buy the red light bulbs that I recommend. And my parents, they come and visit me about once a year. They live on the East Coast. I live in New Mexico. So, it's a lot, it's an effort, they live on a farm, we run a farm. So, we don't see each other that often, but when they come, every time, no fail, my dad complains about the lighting. Can't see a damn thing in here. Somebody turn the lights on. I'm like, Dad, the lights are on. The lights are on, Dad. That's where they're at, so, we have so in response to that email, my mom emails me back. She's like, Heather, how many light bulbs do you get for $15 from the link I sent? I was like, Mom, you get 1 light bulb for $15. And she couldn't wrap her head around it. She was like, wait a minute, that's way too expensive. I can't, I'm not going to buy those light bulbs. And I'm like, Mom, don't worry, I'm going to send you some of the red light bulbs. But here's the thing. This is what I want to get to. You cannot convince anyone to buy a red light bulb for $15 a pop, and that's on the cheap end, that's on the affordable end, right? If they don't understand the importance of this investment, right? And so a $15 investment in a light bulb that actually will support your hormones, your metabolic health, your sleep, your healings, your healing cycle at night, your melatonin cycle, right? It's a fucking steal. It was like $15 for all of that, but my mom, who's not, she's not in the circadian world, she's not listening to podcasts, she's not in the modern world whatsoever. Sometimes she'll send me an email and she'll type the whole email in the subject line, not knowing that she did that. And I'm like, I have to fucking read through the email in the subject line. I'm like, Mom, I love you so much. So anyway, what I'm really getting to here is that, let's say you have a client that you're working with, you're in the holistic health profession, or you have a partner or children or people you live with, and you're like, hey, it's a hard sell to get somebody to put on, red lights or anything other than the LED lights that blast you, because we're trained and programmed and conditioned to be under that bright light all the time. And anything that is not that, there's going to be some pushback. So until people can understand, maybe it's your client, maybe it's somebody you live with, maybe it's your spouse, your family member, until they can really grasp and understand why this is important to your health, then they're going to think you're cuckoo. Or it's not a big deal. Are you kidding me? A light bulb. I can get on board with a good diet. I can get on board with that. I can get on board that I have to move my body and exercise, right? people have a hard time getting on board with light and changes in the light environment because typically they don't see an immediate, like, oh, instantaneous result, like effect, like a positive effect instantaneously. And we're also programmed to get things instantaneously on our DMs, in our mailbox, on Amazon Prime, whatever it may be. We are programmed to get things instantaneously. So this can be a hard sell. Now, for me, in my personal experience, when I realized LED lights were shit, I had to stop using them to support my health, and I had to swap over to different light bulbs. And I did that. I slept better and I had more energy, but I also did this in conjunction with the Sunlight RX. So it was kind of like these two practices married in one, these two changes married in one at the same time. So what I can tell you though is if somebody is willing to experience an amber light bulb or a red light bulb after sunset versus LED or fluorescence, and if you do that for a few weeks and then you put the LED on, they're going to feel blinded and it's going to feel uncomfortable. The only reason they want that light is because they're programmed that way. So, here's the deal. Like, some people are going to listen to what you have to say, and others are going to be like, that's horseshit. I don't want to hear it. That's how it goes. That's life, right? So, if you really want to, and sometimes it can be helpful to convince people, particularly if you have a holistic health practice and you show them the facts, like, this is actually why this works. However, family members usually don't give a shit as to, how light impacts the retina and the retinohypothalamic tract behind the eye in the brain to signal to your endocrine organs and signal to your hormones and your metabolic signals. And the type of light that hits your retina, jump starts that entire process. Your family probably gives two shits about that. Don't try to, I wouldn't try to convince them of that. You probably will lose them. You have your own journey, so go about it however you want. But what I'm saying is, for those of you who are trying to help other people see the benefit of changing out your light bulbs, like, anything the government tells us to do, we typically want to do the opposite. And so when they banned incandescent light bulbs, you better be looking at that and like, hey, maybe there's some benefit here. Why are they doing that? And then Obama signs this, like, this whole starts this whole banning of the bulb horse shit. And it's like, but were they really banned? Because you can go on Amazon and buy incandescent light bulbs or in other places. So it's like, what are you guys really doing? But what we need to understand here, especially if you have holistic health clients, or let's say you have one of the rare family members who will listen to you, you can explain a little bit of the biology, the physiology, the science behind why this is a big deal. Why this is a big deal is just what I mentioned here, is that when light hits your eye and enters the retina, that light message, so let's say it's red light at sunrise. Okay, that message is going to go back. Your retina gets it, goes along the retinohypothalamic tract, gets to the hypothalamus, like, boom, red light. What do? That's an instruction. That gives your endocrine system instructions. Red light, boom, healing. Blue light at sunrise, you get a combination of red and blue. Blue light at sunrise, boom, go cortisol. Because while you were sleeping, it was dark. There was no light. So what happened was you had a huge melatonin release. Melatonin is the nighttime circadian regulating hormone. As soon as you see the sunrise, that switch gets turned off and the cortisol release switch gets turned on because there's blue light in the sky, and that's registered where? By your eyes, by your retina, sends the messages back to the hypothalamus. And that sets the tone for your hormones, for your metabolism, for your inflammation levels, for your immune markers. Does it, as I said in the beginning of this episode, it's going to support those conditions. If you have a condition in your body, a chronic disease that was caused by genetic predisposition, then this is at least going to help support and make that situation better, changing your light environment. But this is why it's important. This right here, that literally, that people, oh, what else? Literally, the type of light that hits your eyes sends that message gets sent to your hypothalamus, and that in turn signals hormone release patterns, metabolic release patterns, gut microbiome patterns, and so forth throughout your entire body. If you wake up and the first thing you look at is your iPhone, the cortisol release from looking at your iPhone first thing in the morning is going to be akin to having like 6 shots of espresso. So it's going to flood your body with far too much cortisol at that time of day. Your body should be flooded with cortisol around noon, 1 o'clock, not at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 5 a.m., 3 a.m. if you're looking at your phone, etc. So the type of light that hits your eyes is a big deal. It sets the tone for your entire body. It sets the hormone release patterns for your entire body. It sets the your body's healing capacity. Okay? And so here's what I suggest. If you work and need to be indoors and you live in a place that's not super sunny, I live in the Southwest, it's pretty sunny. Now, when I'm inside, there's windows, and the majority of light that comes through windows is also blue light. So just by being indoors, you're in a strong blue light environment, okay? It's not, let me pause there. So this is why it's important to go outside throughout the day. If you're on a screen, to open a window near you, and so you can look out, your eyes can see other variations of light. And I from time to time get asked if somebody can do their Sunlight RX in front of a window. The answer is absolutely never, because unless that window is open, because the dominant light coming through the window is blue light. And that type of blue light, when we single it out and there's not a balance of other light forms there, like UV, like red, etc., it causes metabolic and hormone imbalances, because that light is what's coming into our eyes. When I'm in front of my screen, I keep my screen in, I have Iris, I keep it in sleep mode. And then I have this thing, I think I've mentioned it to you all, called custom mode. You can custom the light temperature on your Iris program. And so if I do, let's say I need to read a link, or I'm buying a pair of clothes and I need to actually see the color, right? I've set my custom mode to 2860 Kelvin. And I recommend that because that you're going to get less blue light that way. So now let's talk about light bulbs, because I want you all to be able to, sometimes we need a light bulb inside, especially in low light seasons, when UV goes away. And if we don't live in a really sunny environment, and so we don't have great passive solar through our windows in our home, during the day, use incandescent light bulbs. You can also use halogens. I personally have not used halogens, but I know from a circadian standpoint that halogens and incandescent light bulbs can work really well. And they work well because, excuse me, there's a blend of color temperatures. LED lights is simply blue light primarily, and with a very little amount of green. And the amount of blue light in LED lights is astronomical. It's like being inundated with that light on a daily basis, and especially after sunset, you're going to have insomnia. Your melatonin patterns are going to be all messed up, and you're not going to sleep at night. So one reason why, if this is the only reason you change your light environment, especially after dark, this is a good reason. If you are blasting yourself with LEDs, with a regular screen, with your iPhone after sunset, you delay the release of melatonin from your pineal gland. When you delay, the more and longer the melatonin release is delayed, the shorter amount of healing time you get at night when you're sleeping. We are all designed to heal at night when we're sleeping, thanks to melatonin. Now, there's some horse shit going around in the alternative medicine world on how high doses of melatonin are a good idea. They're not a good idea. It's not a good idea. I never like people taking hormones. Melatonin is a hormone. It's a circadian regulating hormone. And if you take great gobs of melatonin, yeah, sure, you might sleep at night, but your body is going to get used to that. It's not going to make its own stores. It's going to be confusing to your body. It's going to, in the long term, affect and dysregulate your entire hormone panel. And we have prominent alternative physicians and medical doctors in the healing field and in the circadian field promoting high doses of melatonin. It's a dangerous idea, and that's not going to get to the root of the problem. So why do some people, one reason why some people struggle with their sleep is because they never take a break from light. It's like daytime all the time, through their screen, through their phone, through their LEDs in their house. And so what happens is, when you look at this type of light, especially after dark, you're going to deplete your melatonin stores. So when you do go to sleep, there's less available for the healing. And you're also going to delay the release of melatonin. So you heal in there's only a short window of time that you're going to be healing in the night. And if we think that taking large doses of melatonin is going to expedite and deepen our healing, we're absolutely wrong. We're fucking with nature here when we take these big doses of melatonin. Same thing with vitamin D. I've seen people go into autoimmunity after taking high doses of vitamin D. And we have to expect the same for melatonin. It's a hormone. Vitamin D is a hormone. Melatonin is a hormone. Cortisol, okay? And so we need to respect these deeply ingrained aspects of our biology that are regulated naturally by light and dark cycles. Excuse me. So, sorry guys. So when it comes to how do you actually, the hell got in my throat, I don't know, sorry about that. How do you actually create a healthy light environment? Number one, you have to get up and see the sunrise. That's like a no-brainer. It's a non-negotiable. If somebody's like, I can't get up and see the sunrise, you can. And this is key to health. It's key because the light that hits your eyes starts this whole circadian regulating hormone with regard to your endocrine system, your hormones, your gut microbiome, etc. Not only does it jumpstart your hormones, it jumpstarts your gut microbiome. So, hey, okay, the meal is coming soon. Food is going to enter the body soon. It preps the gut microbiome to get ready for that. Light preps the gut microbiome, and the type of light actually sets the gut microbiome as well. That's a huge piece of gut health that people have no idea about. That is absolutely very important and a huge game changer, 100%. So during the day, I suggest using incandescent light bulbs or halogens. Like I said, I don't have experience with halogens. I've just heard and read that they're equivalent to incandescent light bulbs. I believe I use Westinghouse's incandescent light bulbs. And I use these during the day if I need them. If it's snowing or gray or really not sunny out, I'll put in an incandescent light bulb. Now, when it gets to sunset, I predominantly use red light bulbs, those $15 ones I was telling you that my mom was hating on in the beginning of this episode. I get my red light bulbs, and I think they're a health bargain, $15 for the benefits that they provide, so worth it. But I get my red light bulbs over at Midwest Red Light Therapy. They have great blue blocking glasses. They have great red light bulbs. You can use my discount code SunlightRx to save a few bucks on your purchase. But I get my red light bulbs from them. I know he does a good job. I've used them for years, and I sleep amazing at night. For the most part, awesome. Now, some people in your family, or maybe you, or for example, my wife needs, she doesn't see that well in general. So we have some amber light bulbs in the house as well. So I will also buy amber light bulbs. And we will use a combination of red light after sunset as well as amber light bulbs. We do not own LED light bulbs. We do not own LED lights. We don't own fluorescent lights. Fluorescent lights are a whole other ballgame because you turn them on and they're actually made with mercury, which is why you have to safely dispose of them. You can't just like throw them in your garbage can. At least you're not supposed to. You have to take them to a place, a special fluorescent light recycling place. And the reason being is because they are made with mercury. And so when you turn on fluorescent lights, literally the mercury vapor, as the light heats up, spreads into the room. How fun is that? Bonus. So, there's a lot of other benefits of getting rid of fluorescent lights, than just your circadian biology. If your partner can't get on board with that, tell them that it leaks mercury vapors, and that's no good for anyone. So literally that's it. That's a type of light bulbs I use. I use, if I need incandescence during the day, as soon as it's sunset, I use red light bulbs and amber light bulbs. And honestly, I buy a surplus of light bulbs at one time, and then, I have a bunch on hand because people are, oh, it's such a drag to change a light bulb. Like, tell me about some real problems. You have to change a light bulb out. How big of a deal is that? It's not a big deal. Just if you, change the light bulb out if you need to. It's one of the most supportive health practices that you can do. So incandescent or halogen during the day. After sunset, switch over to red or amber. And when you switch over to red or amber, you remove 100% of the blue light from your environment. When you do this after sunset, you encourage the release of melatonin. This makes you sleepy, and that's how you heal at night in your sleep. So by making this shift and transition with your light environment, especially after sunset, it can be a game changer for your hormones, your metabolism, your energy levels, your sleep. How many people are on sleeping pills today? And, all they need to do is change over their light environment, change over to red light bulbs, and they'll sleep better. But people want to take high doses of melatonin and think it's, start with the light environment. Start there. It's literally the easiest thing you can do. I had this client once who had insomnia and headaches. And um and before we even worked together, she wanted to hop on a call to see if it'd be a good fit. I'm always open to that. I'm like, sure, yeah, we can do that, no problem. So I hop on the phone with her and we're talking, and I'm like, she's telling me she can't sleep and she has headaches. And I asked her one question. I said, "Do you sleep with your cell phone by your bed?" She's like, "Yeah, I sleep with it on my right by my bedstand, right where I sleep." I said, "Okay. And did you just upgrade your iPhone?" "Yeah, I just got a new iPhone." I said, "Okay. Keep your iPhone in airport mode when you're sleeping and put it in the other room." That's all I told her. I haven't heard from her since. Actually, I did. She said the headaches went away and I started to sleep after I did that one thing. Honest to God. I will never forget that. This may seem like people often think they're dying and have some chronic condition. It's like the worst thing ever, and they need to go to urgent care or the hospital or get on some medication, when really it's like that woman could have been tormented for her entire life with insomnia and headaches, which could lead to like brain cancer or cancer in general. And she just made that one switch, and her she slept and her headaches went away. It's like some things are that easy. Some things just are that simple. So if you know anyone who struggles with their sleep, who struggles with their blood sugar levels, their hormone health, um, if you know someone who has a chronic condition who needs a lot of extra healing time at night, please teach them about light bulbs and their light environment, and how to at least make their light environment not blue after sunset. Make it red, make it amber, to support your healing cycles, to support your sleep, to support your circadian biology. So I hope that this episode was helpful, especially we're going into winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. And so we have to consider our light environment even more, because we're going to have longer stretches of darkness now. So that means the red lights and the amber lights are going to come out earlier than they did in the summer months. Something, this is also what I'll end on here, is and I know some people are gonna be like, this is really nuts and maybe really very crunchy, should do an episode on this. Maybe she already did, but I literally will walk around with a headlamp on after, when it's dark, and I'll keep it on red. It's like, it's so easy. You need to see something, you need to I'll read often at night. I'll put my headlamp on and put it in red. It's amazing. It's easy, and then I don't mess up my circadian biology, and I can, still read and see and do things. And even when so even in my bathroom, in our shower right now, the electrical's getting redone in there, so there's no light. So I'll take my headlamp in, I'll put it on red, and I'll put it on the little shower, the rim of the shower, and I'll take my shower. It's like, we have to train ourselves to darkness. We've overtrained ourselves to light, and we think we need light 24/7, or whenever we want it, we can get it. We have access to it. There's no off. Well, there is an off switch, but most people don't hit the off switch. So I'm inviting you to do that, to get a red light headlamp, and to go over to Midwest Red Light Therapy and to get yourself some red light bulbs. And use my discount code SunlightRx when you purchase them. I also use their red glasses at night if I need them, and I use their orange lens glasses, blue blockers, during the day if and when I need them. All right, everyone. See you next week.